Okay, well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you beautiful viewers out there in Facebook land or cyberspace, wherever we might be. Today we are talking about, we're going to have a little chat, Janine and I, about collective consciousness. We thought this was a bit interesting because there's so many different angles, I think, that we can look at this, but anyway, so if you'd like to join in, of course you can, and we would love you to. So any comments or questions you might have, put them up on the comments underneath the live on our Facebook page here. Alrighty, so how are we today? Janine.
Hello, so wonderful to be here again with you, Mandy, and with the world at large, whoever comes on or sees this in the replay. It's always a fabulous time having a conversation, and and being able to share it with the world, as I said last time, is really just such a gift, such a gift.
It is, you know, I know we all might moan a wee bit about technology at times, but oh my goodness, what a gift we have.
Yeah,
it is a gift. It's a beautiful thing. And I just, as we've always said anyway, it's lovely to meet different people from around the country and the world, really, online.
It's like having a window through to the outside world, isn't it? And we just sit here at our window and we watch the world go by. Whoever comes past the window is always welcome to stop by and have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple of viewers coming in. Morning, ladies. Joe and Sue, how are you?
Morning, Joe and Sue. Lovely to have you here.
Yeah. All right. So collective consciousness. I mean, it made me think about hearing people speak about collective consciousness, and it made me feel into that, which is what prompted, again, our conversation when we spoke about it, Janine? And that is the different pockets, you know, everything. There's like, we might have a gardening club. Well, that's a collective consciousness as well. That gardening club, you know, we can connect into that. And I know different times I've connected into different collective consciousness pockets to be able to access some information even. So it has its, you know, it's, well, there's pitfalls to it, I reckon, as well. But anyway, we'll get into that conversation more as we go on. So what's your view, Janine, just while I check on these ladies and their conversation?
Absolutely. So I once believed that it was called the collective consciousness because we collectively contributed to it. But now I know it as one consciousness. That is who we are. We are collectively one consciousness. So, you know, I kind of took it, the title as the greater picture. So I totally get where you started off, Mandy, with the pockets of consciousness, because absolutely that's powerful in itself. But for me, when I was feeling into collective consciousness, I was feeling into the oneness of who we are collectively here in this reality. And, you know, we are consciousness experiencing itself. And with every experience we have, we, as that consciousness, expand. So this is why the universe is forever shifting and changing and abounds with pure potential and possibilities. Nothing's ever stuck or stopped within consciousness, because every experience we have brings many new opportunities, possibilities, and potentials. So I kind of started at one end of the spectrum, and the big picture, and you started at the other end of the spectrum. Down into the pocket. So what a huge conversation this could be today. We might have to have about 10 hours.
I reckon. But it's an interesting you know, view into it, because there is that total absolute one consciousness state, which for me is, when anyone's talking about collective consciousness, that's where we would go. You know, it's that expanded overview of the all. And yeah, like you say, so many opportunities in that. And, you know, I don't know if anyone else has experienced the mental field of the planet. I don't know, have you ever gone into the mental field the mind field, as I call it, of the planet. You know, like how we have the bodies.
Yeah. No, I honestly, I can't say I actually have, because I have a tough time just being in my own mental mind, because I'm such a feeling being, and that's where my natural state of being is to feel. Yeah, I get confused just by using the mental mind. So crikey, I can't imagine what I'd be like if I went into the mental field of the all here. So yes, share with us.
It's it is a mind field, like actual, and
yeah, I can imagine.
And it's not a fun place to go. It's like you do feel like you're losing your mind, or there's a collective of so many in there that's just chattering away. And the thoughts that are coming through, they're pretty random, but it's a very busy, full on, and very, it had a pressure to it, you know, where it was pressing in on. And it isn't a comfortable space to be in at all. It was lovely to come back out of that and be in my own sort of silence, in a sense, you know, compared to that place.
I bet. But that, you know, if we have gazillions of thoughts in a day, and they all would go into that part of the consciousness,
yes,
which would be as the mental plane, like you say, I can't imagine for a moment. Well, I can get a sense of how busy that place is, like chaotically busy, mentally busy.
Mentally, it really did. It felt like I was pressured mentally in there. And, you know, and why that happened was because at the point in time in my life there was, I was running a group, and there was this division that was happening. You know, there was this one person who was trying to pull people out of there and to come to her place. You know, so there was this stuff going on, and I could feel it. I hadn't heard anything, but I could feel it. And I could feel people's minds checking, like on me, if you get me. So I could feel this stuff coming through, because when this person was talking about me, then it was coming to me energetically. So I was finding this interference going on, and that's why I went to check. I went to check where this was coming from and sort of track it, really. And ended up in this minefield. and why we went there, Spirit showed me this, is that it is like a spaghetti network. It's just like, if you imagine, you know, the old plug-in phone systems we used to have, and there were just cords going everywhere all over the place. That's what this thought process stuff was like. It was like a spaghetti train station that was just stuff crossing over each other all over the place. And there was almost like no gap between them either. And that's where the pressure I felt came in. There was just no space in between to take a breath and hide for a minute to get, you know, out of this crazy. But what it did show me is the amount of energy that we put into thought, and what does get caught around in the spaghetti network. How could I put it? Because if we think about magnetizing and how we magnetize and we project, well, we're collecting up the same. If we have thoughts around something, this is what I feel. If we have a thought around something, then we're going to get other thoughts that match those sorts of thoughts coming through, like in that collective there. And that's what I was getting shown. So it just showed me the impact that we have energetically through our thoughts that aren't actually, they are going into a collective conscious state somewhere, which is in that mental field, definitely of the planet. But what I also realized was that how many of us sitting in meditation are moving past those fields. You know, for me, it was like, we might have an idea that comes forward when we're sitting in that space of what we believe maybe the unknown. But are we actually in the field of thought where we're getting this idea from that's been put there by somebody else? you know, and we're picking it up and running with that, going, oh my gosh, look what God gave me, or my conscious gave me today, you know, my inner being, you know, and really it's actually from that field. So it made me really check in to where I get my information from. And from that point on, I started going right outside the planet. So when I'm going into meditation, I'm going inward, of course, but I'm moving myself past and through what I felt were the barriers or the fields of this planet, as is our body. So yeah, it was very interesting. But again, the collection of same thought, you know.
See, it just shows how powerful we are as beings, you know, on every level, you know, the mental layer of us or level of us is a hugely powerful piece of us, and to have control over it rather than it control us is a massive thing to have. But that comes with consciousness. So here we are back to the word consciousness again, because you know there's two ways of looking at consciousness. We have the consciousness of one, which is who we are, and we have conscious awareness, which is us in our awakened presence within every moment of our life experience. And this is where we're moving to now, is to step into each moment in that awakened state, rather than allow ourselves to live our life by default, blinkers on, not realizing that we're creating our life experience here. So so you know, getting back to what you were talking about, I remember years ago being shown, it was like I was outside that mental field and I was being shown into it without actually it touching me at all. So I was in observer mode and I saw all the thoughts in there, all scurrying around like busy craziness does, energy does.
Yeah.
And all the like thoughts, all the similar vibrational thoughts clumped together. So like magnets, they found each other of similar vibration and they clumped together in there.
Yeah.
I actually literally watched this happening.
Yes.
Then that clump of similar vibrational thoughts created a life force of its own. It became something. It became what we would call a lower entity, or you know, something similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that clump has an influence on those that are here in this reality that are having similar thoughts, that are projecting out similar thoughts. And so that mass comes in and connects to them and starts influencing them even deeper in that way of thoughts. And if you like, not a nice way to say it, that starts feeding off the very life force of that person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very detrimental, you know. So there is many layers and levels to this consciousness that we are, this collective consciousness here in this reality, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And same happens when somebody might run anger, you know, and it's got quite a force in there. And you know, I know when I've got to that point where I snap and it's just a rage, you know, that's come through. There's a power in that. Like I could feel the force of that energetically. It's like, whoa, could knock people over. And in that space, when we run that often enough, we do also create those into being. So the angry demon, you know, the angry energy that's sitting on somebody's shoulder that just continually pokes and prods and gets them to react again, so that it gets fed.
Yeah.
And all of these things, totally.
You know, it's like we can take it to the other end of the spectrum as well. And when we are having joyful thoughts, happy thoughts, and we're in creative mode with our thoughts, those thoughts come together as well. And rather than feed off us, though, those thoughts give to us. So that vibration actually gives back whereas the lower vibration takes from, fills up and takes from. So so there is like layers and levels within the layers and levels, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. Even that denser stuff can feed you in some way, though. It can be like an addiction running them. I know my sadness was like addiction. It was like, I need something to trigger that sad in me, to give me a good cry so I could feel better. So it was, and I realized in that process one day, going to a Netflix movie to have a good cry, and I was thinking, this is like a bloody addiction. And it was was something that kept just triggering me to want more of it. It was
absolutely
a bizarre thing.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally get that. You mentioned Netflix has that's just brought on a whole new level of the collective consciousness here, and that is that people go along to the movies and they watch all these war movies, brutal, bloodthirsty movies, these horror movies, these dramatic action movies, and every single movie has an influence on us. And that influence goes out in thoughts and emotions and ideas and attitudes and beliefs straight into the field, straight into the consciousness. And we're influencers. Every one of us is an influencer. So every part that goes into that collective oneness influences the masses to varying levels, depending on where everybody is in themselves. And so we watch those movies. We have so many frights and fears and angst and all that in there, putting all that loosh out into the field. Then we get up and we go home, and we take that energy right into our homes, into our families. We share the movie. So we're sitting down with our siblings or our mum and dad or our partner, and we're going, oh my gosh, and I'm so afraid. And we feed that into the room, into that conversation, to that person, this is how it works. And we influence others, and we are influenced by others. And when we become consciously aware of ourselves, we know better. We know better than to go to any of these movies that do this sort of thing, instead going to light-hearted movies or inspirational movies or beautiful, loving movies and things like that. It's and it's a far better energy to be feeding into taking home to our families.
I totally remember that, walking home after the movies when I was a teenager, and thought I'd try The Exorcist, and I only got 10 minutes into the movie. I didn't think I even watched any more of it. I couldn't stand it, and I got out and I walked home. It was dark, of course, late Sunday night, and I had to walk over a mile up through the hospital pathway, which was bush, had a bit of tree and bush and stuff, and it was uphill climb, so you couldn't really run it as well as you could if it was flat ground. But man, I tell you, the fear that was coming off me in that trip home was just terrible. I was petrified, and all that energy that I was sending out into the planet, to the planet, to the environment, was just horrible. Never do I ever want to do that again. I didn't do it again.
Because we directly influence the trees and the bushes and all of nature as well.
Totally.
We're a very powerful part of this reality. And but then of course, and staying on the subject for a while longer, then televisions were introduced into every household in the world. And so people could be influenced easily by not even leaving their homes, by watching TV and all that harshness and the bad news shows. And I noticed through talking to others that there is a lot of murder programs on the TV now. Apparently there's a heck of a lot of murder programs, and that, well, this is the influence that's on people, as a whole. Watch these programs. They're constantly in the lower vibrational thought forms and attracting that to them in their life, and people wonder why their lives aren't changing, why they're not able to lift themselves up into joy and happiness. Well,
yeah,
turn your TVs off, turn them off,
yes,
or only watch particular programs if you have
yeah.
to, so yeah, it's the day that television was invented and put into all the households was a massive day of change for this planet.
It definitely was. It definitely was. I must say, though, I do still love my TV and being able to watch some movies and things like that.
You would be
it's my chill time.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. And I can watch some action stuff that's pretty out there, but it doesn't affect like it used to. When I was running my programs, definitely, like I couldn't watch something that was where there was a stalker, because I'd been stalked. It was like, I couldn't watch rape stuff, anything that connected to my story.
Yes.
I couldn't watch it. It was just too much. So, that's definitely all changed now, but they're not my go-tos,
No.
I prefer the lighter, really. If I put something like that sort of thing on, it's totally to shut my mind off and just, I don't have to think about anything. I can just watch it and not think about it, really. Which is silly, but it's
no, not at all. I totally
what
get
it is.
Pre-COVID days, I used to go to the movies regularly. Like,
yeah,
I could be at the movies twice a week. I'd get my cup of coffee and then I'd go by myself. I loved movies, and that was my breakaway time from the world, but I was incredibly discerning. I have to be, because I'm very sensitive. And so if I go into anything, if I accidentally end up in something that's got stuff in it that I just can't handle, I have to cover my hands with my ears and shut my eyes. I must look funny in there. This lady my age sitting there by herself, and she's not even watching the movie because she's got her ears and her eyes shut. But I just can't subject myself to some of the images that are coming off some of the movies. So I'm very careful. But since COVID's come along, of course, and mandates and masks, etc., that part is gone now, and maybe one day it'll come back. I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So if we move it to the other end of the spectrum, away from thoughts, and we come into feelings, and notice that influence on the consciousness of this planet. So feelings are rising now into higher and higher vibration. And when we learn to control our mind, and we bring our mind into alignment with our heart, we can bring our thoughts into the very same place as these higher feelings. And this is where we find our center and slide into the truth of who and what we are so much easier, with grace and ease. I love saying that.
Yes.
And that is the influence that we have on the consciousness of this planet, then, on this reality of ourselves. And we influence so many other people, so people will often say to me, oh, I don't know what my purpose here is. And of course, all of our purpose is to awaken to ourselves and to remember who and what we are. But we're also here to support each other. And I say to people, you've been doing that since the day you were born. And as you become consciously aware of yourself and who and what you are as that consciousness, you're influencing everybody else to the depth and the level that they're ready to be influenced, of course, into rising higher too, because that's what we do.
Exactly.
So, we have a fabulous day and we're right in our joy, and all those joy bubbles are just swimming out into the field and connecting with every single one that is open and receptive to receiving that joy. And this is our gift here. This is what we do for each other.
Exactly.
So this is how we're changing this reality.
Yeah.
Do notice, I was sitting here about an hour ago, and I was just feeling into our topic today, and I was just asking, what do I need to see and know for our topic today? And I saw something and I found something that I was surprised about. And that is that we are oneness. So there is only one consciousness. Yet within that one consciousness, it's starting to split now. There is a separation happening within the oneness. And that is because one part of humanity here has chosen to awaken to themselves and to rise into their deepest truth. And the other part has decided that they want to carry on experiencing where they're at. And they want to experience the fear and the duality. And the other part, of course, wants to experience the love and the oneness. So there is kind of a pulling part within the oneness happening as two different realities start to be created here. And that's what we're feeling right now. And we've spoken about this before, the separation that's happening, but I hadn't taken it through to the level of the oneness of the collective consciousness.
Right.
And then when that sort of came to me this morning, I thought, how can you have the oneness when there's such a divide happening there? And that's when I saw within the oneness that very gently it's imploding in itself, and they're creating two very separate realities, still with oneness, but it's moving apart now.
Yes. There's something I was going to say then, but I've lost it now. But yeah, definitely that. And yet still in the one, that's the beauty of it. It's like we're not actually separating in the sense of that. There's different views, yes, but we're still in that oneness state. But what I was going to say is that, I've had a hard time coming back to feeling the joy. We've gone through this tumultuous time over the last 2-3 years, and there's been some really beautiful things that have come through from that, which we all know, and that we get the reason why this is happening. We understand all that, but it definitely triggered, I think, for all of us, no matter where we are in that consciousness, that it did trigger a lot of old feelings from which I thought, God, I feel like I've gone back to when I was first coming out as a clairvoyant medium to people, and there was all this judgment around it. Well, this felt like the same thing. There was this divide, which we all know about. And there was just such judgment going on. And for me, it's like now I'm coming back into the joy, now that I've got my sort of path coming back into me, for me, after Dad's passing and different things have moved now, that I can actually come back to me. And there is a joy that's happening. And it's a different feeling, and it's still a wee bit sort of clouded or smothered, I think, in some way for me at the moment. Still, I'm coming through that. But the one place is where I'm heading with this, is that I just know that there's so many people feeling the same way on the planet, that they are highly evolved. They've got their awareness, and they connect into that conscious collective of one. And that is where I find the joy. That's where I find all those feelings that I try to live in this day here, is when I'm in that state. And the more that I've come out of there over these last few years, I've lost my mind. It's like I was just saying the other weekend, it's hard to have a conversation. I feel it's difficult. There's a struggle to have a conversation, because for me, the words aren't arriving. It's like my mind's gone numb. It's gone blank, and it's like trying to find things now to bring into conversation, because they're in a different space than where they were before. And so this bringing joy back has been something like I'm consciously aware of the feeling state and where I am in this feeling levels, I suppose, engaging during the day, where I'm at in those. And to find what I'm finding now is the more I go back to source, because we often sometimes will think we're in source too, and we're still in that minefield. So when we really go to source, that's the only time we're really actually in present moment. But in that state there is where we have all those beautiful feelings of that higher love state. And I just tend to infuse myself, because it isn't infusing, we're just already there, we are that. It's now allowing, or not allowing, but what am I saying? Building that quotient back up in my body. Because it was like we emptied everything out again. We became this, oh, that's the way I see it anyway. We became this, this like sewer pipe. Anything I can think to say.
Take a flavor there.
Just letting go all that shit. And it was just constant. I was like, oh my goodness, I thought I'd done all this stuff. It was like going back in and cleaning up and actually, 30-second wipe away, whatever that one is, spray and wipe, to get rid of the gunge around the outside of the pipe or whatever. It's like, oh my goodness. And it was grueling.
Yeah.
Oh, so now it's like, I feel like energetically everywhere on the planet now, we're coming into those spaces. And it was just the other night too, and last night again, I had this conversation with the same person, but it was that so many people now are seeing different spaces in the ether and different spaces in the dimensional spaces that we're seeing now. It's like things have changed. And vivid dreams more so. People are coming into the dream state more again, and things are sort of shifting to where we're coming back to where we not were, because we're never going to go back there. We're always expanding, moving on.
Yeah.
But it was like I've been noticing these pockets in the dimensional layers. So it's a very difficult thing to try and explain and describe, but it's like, say, going into from the lounge to the dining room, and as you come around into the dining room, there's an area here where there's 2 or 3 different pockets of energy that you could connect into. It's like it's hard to explain, but anyway, there's so many different things that are coming on board at the moment, and that collective consciousness that we go back to in the source moment is where we find the joy again, is where we find that love that we really are, and anchor it back through into this vessel, because we lost that. We lost a lot of that when we were going through these last 2-3 years. And I can feel that building more and more within myself. I can feel too, and I feel like this is one of the major things that I feel most people are, is that when we are not in the flow of creation, we go downhill. Like our body shut down, we get more pain in the body. It's like we've shut the vessel off. And I find when I'm in the creating state again, which is what I'm in, it's like it flows through and that sewer pipe's clear, cleans it out. So yeah, it's a huge movement that we're all in.
Well, we're creative beings. So if we're not flowing in our creative energy, we are kind of turned off or not tapped in to the source of ourself. I mean, we always are, but it's like the flow has been turned right down, the tap's been turned right down. So I totally hear you when you say that. That's completely normal for us. For me, like you were saying, that you're finding your joy again, and like being joy-seeking beings, that's our natural state of being. But for me right now, what I'm finding is, and this is every day, even when I'm having what I call a blah day, which is kind of like a flat day, I'm finding a peace that's profound, and
yes.
and I slip into it. Or I become aware that I'm already in it in any moment that I bring my full awareness to myself in the moment.
Yep.
And when I slip into that profound peace, I can be anywhere doing anything. I don't have to have stopped or go into any meditation or anything like that. I can be anywhere doing anything. And I've noticed that when I'm in that space, everything talks to me. So everything talks to me on a level that it hasn't done before. And that is even the wind or the breeze or sound or whatever it is that is around me starts to actually communicate with me directly. And it's absolutely incredibly deeply heart touching. Well, it's heart communication, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is just one of the gifts. I'm very, very consciously aware that this is just one of the pieces that's coming back to us all in this journey forward. So as the outside crumbles away and that the shadows are dancing all around, within the bubble of joy for you, of peace for me, of brightening love that we're growing back into, that world doesn't touch us. It has very little influence on us, and it seems to just swim on by without directly having a huge impact. So that's what I've really noticed with my journey over the last 2 or 3 years. It's just getting gentler and more deeply connected, and you know, and I'm in a flow. I'm in this.
I was just going to say the flow is just beautiful.
I'm just in this very gentle and warm, loving flow of pure truth. And that's what it feels like, pure truth that's rising in me again. And so, you know, it's this is the rewards of all the years of hard work, of a life's of struggle, and being courageous enough to turn inward and look at ourselves and own what we see. That's the biggest bit. That's the bit that I really love being with others in one-on-one consultation, is helping them own what they see through a very gentle, accepting place, because every one of us has every aspect, and you know, and to be able to, getting back to the conscious field, to the oneness, it's all part of the oneness, of course. Every piece of us is a part of the oneness. But when we can retire some of the parts that we no longer need to serve our experience as we move into the new world, we can then allow the aspects that are growing in us, the bright, polished aspects, if you like, to have more of an influence on that oneness, that collective field. And there again, we come back to helping each other, supporting each other to rise, you know. So this is the journey now for us. We've got each other by the hands, and we're all stepping into that new creation together, you know. It's just...
It is. It's a fun thing. I know it hasn't been. I know it's knocked us around, like we were saying, you know, over the last 3 years or so. But it's actually one of the most beautiful things that we really have come in here to do. It's the main thing. Yes. So we've got Moon, who says, "Go within in our hearts to find peace and bliss and honor our connection to source at every moment." Exactly.
Absolutely, Moon. Yeah, totally.
And John says, "How wonderful to lose our mind, allowing access to source."
Yes, dead right, John. I remember one of my family members saying a year or two ago, "Have you lost your mind?" Like they said it in anger. And I went, "Yes, isn't it wonderful?" It was totally the reaction that they weren't expecting, that floored them. They didn't know quite. They just didn't know how to respond.
It is
totally.
It's a very weird thing, though. It's a weird thing in that, I don't know, like particularly doing something like this and going on to our intimate conversations, there's days where I'm just blank, and it's like, oh my goodness. And somebody might ask me, you know, I was at a workshop not long ago, and I was asked, "What's metaphysics?" Well, I said, "Move on."
It's a word. It's just a word.
You know, I mean, it's just bizarre. And It's sort of had worried me for a while there, thinking, gosh, I've got no conversation to have with people because I can't conjure up the conversation. It's like, we can talk about stuff that they might be going through, but something that I'm doing or thinking or being isn't. It's like, I don't even know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just shifted so much.
Yeah, because words are becoming obsolete, and as feeling takes over, words do. They don't hold the meaning that they used to hold. So, and we'll get to the stage where we, like in the future, where we won't use words at all. We will not, because we want empathy and just complete feeling. So there won't be words. So already we're starting to find it harder, harder, but not hard, but harder to communicate with each other. And we choose our words more consciously, and because we know the power and the effect of words, and we can't often find the right descriptive words for the expanded feelings now, because it goes beyond this reality.
Exactly.
So, I mean, how do you describe something that had such a profound effect on you? The beauty was so incredible, it altered your perception of yourself in that moment for the rest of your life here. I mean, how do you describe that to somebody so that they can get a sense and a feel of it? You can't. You just have to let them see by the example of the newness in us, that we went through something profound. So words are, and I'm also noticing, and I've been noticing for quite a while with myself, but I'm noticing with others as well, is that the mundane conversation, the surface conversation, hi, how are you? How's the weather in your neck of the woods? Or that stuff that's meaningless is just nearly gone now from those that are awake to themselves. Because why waste those moments, those precious moments, on saying something that you've got no interest in really, when you can look at that person in the eye and smile and say, so lovely to meet you, I'm feeling you, I see you. To use the time to really be present with
knowledge.
Instead of just surfacely brushing past and saying, nice weather today. I mean,
I know. And that knowing, that it's like, even when I think I've said to you before, when my children were younger, and even now with Macy, it's like there's a question asked, or what is this? And I think, why are you asking me that? You know what that is. And it's this knowing that the soul knows all that, but actually you're in a small body, and no, you don't know that, and your human self doesn't know that. So I need to answer that question. But I used to get frustrated with it, because I was always in that space of they know, and they did, but their little human didn't, and I had to come back to the human self and go, oh no, okay, so they don't actually know,
Absolutely.
And it is, we've been moving through these 2 worlds or 3 worlds really for such a long time. We've been sort of in and out of them in many ways, coming into that collective conscious oneness state, and then we move back into the human, and there's a bit of density there that suffocates the memory and the awareness and the knowing sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's moving ourselves through.
We have within the conscious field, of course, of oneness, where we are only one. We have every single life that's ever been lived, that's being lived now. Every single experience is within that conscious field as well. So I ask you, Mandy, how can one person say, I've been such and such? Let me just, for instance, pick somebody in history. I've been Queen Victoria. How can just one person say that when that was them and nobody else? When every one of us, every single spark of light within that collective consciousness has access to that experience, and can say with absolute surety and as their truth that they were that that particular historic person.
Mhm.
So that's something else that's really rising now, is that we can claim we've been any one of those lives, anyone. In fact, and if we've spoken about this before too, we can have many standing in the same room that could swear that they've been Queen Victoria and have direct access to memory of that life, you know, and because we're one consciousness, and so we did. I might have had that experience through you being in that body, and I can take those memories, you know. So we're expanding out. We're opening up and realizing what this actually means to be one consciousness.
And we are. I'd just like to read out a couple of these.
Yes, please.
Here from our viewers. Moon says, I get overwhelmed very quickly nowadays. I feel the energy is going faster and my body feels slow motion, very strange. I go out and reconnect to nature when I get overwhelmed or sleep. And it does feel like things are moving faster. And I think vibrationally, you know, even the Schumann resonance, the scale it's showing, there's big leaps even, and there's moments in there where it's gone blank or something too, it's like there's been big moments of like a big leap almost. And so yes, I feel the same way, Moon. I feel like things are moving so fast, and the body is the last to come on board, you know. So it's not until, I don't know how even long it's going to take our body to come online, but it's moving it very quickly already. And any wonder, you know, we've said it many times, any wonder we've been so exhausted.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely. I'd like to reply to Moon too before you read out the next one.
Yeah.
So Moon, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you are in your head. Yeah. So if you come down into your body heart awareness, if you just in any moment that you feel overwhelmed, if you just stop and start concentrating on your breath, and just breathe deeply into your belly, and as you release it, bring yourself present into the moment. Quieten yourself right down. Doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in meditation or anything. Just bring yourself present into the moment through your breath. You will release that overwhelm, because you've come down into your body heart awareness, and you're not in your head where overwhelm actually happens. So that's just to help you out, that when you feel overwhelmed, know, oh, I'm in my head, I'm in my mind, and I take a breath and I just bring myself present into this moment, feeling my body, feeling my heart. And the other part for you, Moon, is also that time is shortening here. So there is the sense of things are quickening up, things are becoming more rapid, because the 24-hour day now is actually only 13 hours in the day. So we're nearly just about half the amount of time that we used to have in the day. We're down to half that now. So if you feel like you just haven't got enough time for things, that's right. Things are rapidly now, and you know, this is a good thing really, because it's getting us through this time in half the time. And as we grow out of this reality, there is no time. So already we're getting that sense of flow. We are planning, it's getting harder. We're having to do things differently so that we can keep our head above water in a day, you know. So just realize that you've got half the amount of time. So the 24 hours is still there, but time sped up so much, it's like 13 hours in the day now. So just pace yourself with that. For me, personally, I know that my very best time is the mornings, and I know that by about 2 in the afternoon, I've had enough of the day, and it's time to bring myself back in to rest and relax, and it's time out. So, and I know that's the same for others here close to me that I know. We just know that up till 2, and then it's like day's finished, and so I don't run. I don't run any internet things at night time. I don't do any Zoom calls or anything at night time because my energy levels are much lower. I do everything in the mornings. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, next one.
Yeah, no, I'm the same, Janine. It's expanding for me a bit now, though, I have to say, but
good.
I'm getting more energy in the day, further on. And John said language is so limiting, unlike sound, which is expanding, which is exactly right. And
totally, John, great point. Yeah.
Yes. And Moon says, yes, thank you, lovely Janine. So John also says, until man learns to live in this world and not be of it, he will not know the art of dying daily, the secret techniques for moving the consciousness beyond the veil of death.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, profound, John. Love your contributions. Love them. I love that first part, the first one that John said about, words are becoming obsolete with sounds becoming more expanded would be my word. Totally, I get that completely. And that's why we're seeing so many more people stepping forward in their sound and allowing themselves their sound and sharing that with others, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. What do we got? Oh, Wendy said, wow, here right when Janine Savion said, when people are conversing and you don't want to waste a precious moment, oh, well, that's what I always say to myself, to seed intention, to point out the magic, because it's more fun.
Yeah, and Wendy, if we do engage in a conversation that is really just surface stuff that we just know that we don't want to be part of, we immediately feel the drain on our energy. Immediately now, we start to feel that drain on our energy. It's like it's been pulled from us. So, why do that to ourselves, And like Wendy said, especially when we can stand there and we can say something to that person that may trigger them in such a beautiful way that it gets them looking at a new piece or new part of themselves, or a recognition in themselves right in that moment, or and that's, as I've said probably for the third time in this conversation, that's what we're here for, to help each other rise.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, I think what we've always been is we've been, even in conversation, we're thinking about what we're going to say to that person when they've finished speaking. So we're not really even engaging in what they're saying. We're already hearing part of it, and then we're collecting up what we think we might respond with. And that's all energy being taken out of our, energy pot. Not that it's ever empty, but it can be if we're not running it from the source consciousness, of course.
Absolutely.
So when we're using mind like we do in a lot of conversation, it's just a mental thing. It's not,
There's two ways to stand with somebody and be in conversation. One way is to be fully present in that conversation, to give that other person space to talk, because we are interested and we honor their space to share what they've got to say, hear them without being triggered into coming in and saying what we've got to say, and then responding once they've finished. Or we can stand there, hear something that they've said, be triggered in our own mind, go straight into our own story. In that moment, we're completely not present in the conversation anymore. We're writing a story in our mind, and then we blurt it out across them or above them, and we bring it back and make it all about us. So there's very little honoring in that conversation. So this is about presence again, being consciously present in the moment.
Yes. And it was interesting, Guruji he speaks about how he spoke about how even speaking now, the way, you know, sound travels. So even whoever's hearing this now, even me speaking it right now, you're still hearing it in the past.
Yes.
You know, so that's like we're never really, we are, sometimes we are very present in the moment, but everything really is almost in the past by the time we get there.
And then, of course, we can also look on it that there is no past and there is now. And everything that we believe's happened in linear time back then, and every single piece that we're already trying to create in the future, every part is right now within this breath, in this now moment. And how massive, how endless, how unlimited does that make this universal field of creation if everything from the moment of birth, of conception of the universe itself is happening right now in this moment.
I know that I used to get sick of hearing that, you know, over my spiritual journey here. It was like, I used to hear that all the time, and it was like, but I've had past lives, you know, I can recall those lives.
You're having those past lives right now.
Exactly, you know, and it used to bug me because my mind couldn't work that out. It was like, how the hell? I mean, you know, it was funny because it used to annoy me. It was like, and it's like, love it, just love it, just, you know, love it.
And you know,
it's like I'd be putting a finger up going, love it, love it. It's like, well, just love it. Oh, right.
But you see, because of where we're at now, and that we can understand it to a new depth, we realize that that with the linear time changing now, with it dissolving completely, of course, that takes the past and the future with it, because they are linear time. So how can they exist if time is not going to exist in our new beautiful new world that's coming? How can they exist? So we are expanding our awareness in this now moment out to all that potential, those possibilities that are right there, of all that right now. So and
this is the thing, you know, we talk about the new world, but we actually, there's no time, there's only this moment, then we're in it, we're already there.
Yes,
and we already are it, you know. And I'll say, look, I know I'm living my best life. I don't know what that actually looks like, because I don't know what that looks like. I'm allowing it to just be in this moment right now, in the best place that I can be for that. And so that's really living in the moment, is being present of what you're feeling, what you're thinking in this moment, and how your response to the world is in that moment.
Totally. I'm living my best life for who I know myself to be right now. And then 30 seconds later, I could say, I am living my best life to who I know myself to be right now. And I could just keep on every single moment saying the same thing, because that's the truth, you know. So really what that says, Mandy, is that as we open to ourselves, as we find more of ourselves, as we connect into the truth that's just rising in us all the time, that we've been removed from for so long, we are creating our new world in every breath we take.
Absolutely.
And often people say it's already here, we're just not seeing it. 100%. We can only see it as we open to it, which is opening to ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. And
how easy is that?
You know, and that's an example of that is when we lose something, you know, we think, I thought I put that down there. And then you've looked everywhere, it's not there. You come back in an hour's time, and here it is sitting in the place that you thought you left it. Well, you knew you'd left it, you know.
Yes.
That's been happening a lot to me over the last few days too.
Yes.
But yeah, it's an interesting. I love the makeup of it all, you know, and discovering more in that as we deepen, as we open to the real who we are, and find out more about that. And what I'm loving too is it's like uncovering the new gifts
Mm.
you know, our new spaces within us that are filled with all these glorious little gifts that we can unfold and unwrap and see what else, you know. It's just so much joy. And that part there is what, you know me, I'm a run ahead girl.
Yeah.
So that's all part of my wanting to run ahead to see what else.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because it's such a brilliant thing. Like when I come into that space, into that right now moment, I, you know, like I've said to you many times, I can't, somebody said to me, what do you need in your life? What would you be wanting to manifest into your world? I don't have anything because I have it all. I've got it. It feels complete and full and whole right now.
Beautiful.
So there's no outside of me going, oh yeah, I want that, I want this. It's like there's no space for that because it's already full.
Isn't that beautiful? You know,
It
how
is.
people could actually say that, because one of the things I'd like to say here, and us kind of coming to the end and finishing off, is that that people search keenly and deeply for something. So they're looking, and that is the ingredients for not seeing. So if we look intently for something, we're in our minds and we're searching outside of ourselves.
Yes.
So when we realize that, and we just stop and we take a breath and we just settle into our body in that moment, we find it. It comes to us. We don't need to find it. It comes.
Absolutely. Yeah,
What
it does. And that's what I love, is the ease in it all now, you know, that ease, grace and flow. It's just, I love it. And it's always been there. And when I have met, you know, gone into that, it's, you know, and then come out living your human thing. And then you go back into that to get a bit of rest and relaxation and recharge. Now it's there. It's just fully there all the time. And that is who we are, of course. But John, time is a creation of the mind. Dissolve the mind in the space. Time continuum collapses. Man, how powerful and creative are we? One breath at a time. Pun intended.
Yes. Yeah. One breath at a time. Yeah.
I love it, John.
Yeah, God. I saw you smiling away to your phone.
Yeah, I did. I read it and thought, I've got to read that out. Yeah. It's a fun, I mean, when, you know, and I think this is something, again, I'd love to say to everybody is, when you come into that state of worry and angst and overwhelm and all of those things, like you say, Janine, you're in your mind, and it is a time to step out, come back into the body and feel what you're feeling is probably very different to what the head's telling you. Always. And that's where you'll find your center and your alignment, and then things start flowing and growing again, and you go with the, you know, you flow with the go. And it's a beautiful space in that place. It's just such a exciting, fun thing. I love it. And so, you know, it's a matter of coming back to that when we know we're in that overflow outside of self. It's just a matter of taking the time to come back and center yourself again, and then from there start looking, because the world will look very different to that space that you've been in that mind space. And that's the rejuvenation. There's no death in that space. You know, it's in the mind field that we create this death and decay in the body, and what the human believes they have to age and do all these things. And that's the part that for me has been I don't know, I've made things a study or a challenge, I suppose, and not so much a challenge, but it's been interesting. You know, I take things and I think, okay, I'm going to find out more about that. So I'm not reading books, but finding out, going through it energetically. It's something I've always done. I love it. It's fun because it's who we are, and here playing exactly, and having the ability to be able to play energetically like that in this form, I think is such a privilege. Like, actually, you know, I really don't think people get the excitement or the fun involved in that, really. You know, to be able to actually do this here in this form, we're breaking ground here.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, really. And this body is such a machine, it's such an amazing thing that, I don't know, it just blows me away when I go into it all. It's like it just is such a miracle and amazing, and yeah, and I feel like, I want to say, it needs to be honored more, it needs to be honored more.
The temple of love.
Yeah.
What is? Yes.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's a very cool journey.
Very cool.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's us. Janine, do you feel?
Fantastic. It's been a fantastic just over an hour together, and love our conversations. And thank you, Moon, and thank you, John, and anybody, Wendy, and anybody else who's been on board today and listened. And yeah, it's been wonderful.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. And thank you all so much for joining us. It makes it so much more fun when we've got these comments coming in and all your enthusiasm in those comments and things. So thank you so much for joining in, and we'll see you again in another 3 weeks with another topic. It'll be wonderful.
Love you too, Mandy.
That's a love, everyone.